Good morning, Aslam class. Welcome to your maths lesson. It's the 29th of January 2021. Now, before we get into today's lesson, there's a couple of questions that have come up. I thought I'll do it now in this video. On the 27th, which was Wednesday, we were looking at fractions and looking at what fractions are and understanding them a bit more. Now, if you got onto the third question, the third task, you would have had this question where you were asked to draw shapes to show the fractions, and you had to draw shapes that showed that 1 out of 5 was a square. You had to draw shapes to say that 2 out of 5 were triangles, and then 3 out of 5 were shapes that were had more than 3 sides. Now, how you interpreted this question would have depended on what you would have drawn. And in my one here, you see, I did 1 out of 5 was a square. Okay, I then did 2 out of 5 were triangles. I put 2 triangles together to make one shape, so I was a little bit cheeky there. And then I had 3 shapes at the bottom that were out of that were bigger than 3 sides, and each one was, you know, we had 5 shapes in total. I kind of misinterpreted the question. Okay, so I'm going to clear this up for you. You needed to draw 5 shapes. Okay, 5 shapes. That's what you needed to draw. And it did cause a bit of problem in school as well. So you had to draw shapes, one fifth of them. So you need to draw 5 shapes in total, yeah? But 1/5 of them had to be a square. We draw our square first. Okay. What some people did was then draw maybe 4 more shapes and say, right, in this group, 1/5 is a square. And then you may have done 2 triangles in another group and said that 2/5 of shapes in this group are triangles. Yeah, and if you did it like that, then okay, I'll accept that. That is correct, okay, because you are showing that 1 out of 5 are squares, 2 out of 5 are triangles. Okay, but you could have also done it this way. Now, 1 out of 5 squares, 2 out of 5 are going to be triangles. But then we have to add another, well, we need to do 3 out of 5 that have sides greater than 3. And that doesn't mean we need to draw 3 extra shapes though, because if we draw 3 extra shapes, we're going to be out of 6, not out of 5. So you only need to draw 2 more shapes that have more than 3 sides. So it could be a rectangle and it could be, let's say, a hexagon. The reason why you only need to draw 2 more is because the square also has more than 3 sides. So in this, if I said 1 out of 5 is a square, we've got it correct. 2 out of 5 needs to be triangles. We've got that one correct. 3 out of the 5 have to have sides more than 3. Well, look, this one's got 4, so that's 1. This one's got 4, that's 2, and this one has 6. Sorry, that's 3. So 3 out of the 5 shapes have sides greater than 3. I just wanted to clear that up because I know that question really did pose a problem, and I think it was how you interpreted the question, and I know that I interpreted it a different way to maybe some other children did. So there we go. I thought we'd clear that up. So either way that I've just shown you would have been acceptable, but I think this is the way that it needed to be done. So just wanted to clear that up with you. Right, let's get on to today's lesson then, shall we? It's 29th, 1st, 21. Okay, and as always, we start our lesson with our arithmetic. So on the screen now, you can pause the video, sorry, and you can answer these questions. Okay, welcome back, everybody. I'm going to go through the questions with you on the whiteboard, okay? And we're going to go through the answers and see how well you've done. I'm going to stop the screen share so you can, so I can actually, you can see what I'm doing in more detail, and I can have a look at the questions. So for question number 1, we had 4 times 3, and that gives us 12. Question 2, we did 2,456 at 7,312. So let's add the thousands together first. 2,000 plus 7,000 is 9,000. 400 plus 300 is 700. 550 plus 10 is 60. And 6 plus 2 is 8. So your answer should be 9,768. Today's date in Roman numeral. Tough one, this one. Right, 29. Okay, it's 29, the 29th of January. So it's 1. We've got 30, haven't we? 20, sorry. So 2 10s to give us the 20. And then 9 is 1 before 10. Okay, so we've got 30, 20, and then we've got our 9. We've then got 1, which is nice and easy. 1. And then 2021. 1,000 is represented as M, so we've got 2 M's, and then 20, 2X, and then 1. 29, 1, 2021. What number is next in the sequence below? So we've got 16, 19, 22, 25, 28. It's going up in 3s. So our next number is going to be 31. Question number 5, 3 times 7 is 21. Question number 6, 66 divided by 11, by 6 is 11. We're going to do number 7 over here. Question 7, what is 480 millimeters in centimeters? So there are 10 millimeters to every centimeter. So we're going to divide this number by 10, and that will give us 48 centimeters. And then what is 1,500 meters in kilometers? Well, we can write this in 2 ways. 1 kilometer, 500 meters, or if you know how to use decimals, 1.5 kilometers. Question 9, what's 8:20 on a 24-hour clock? 8 o'clock on a 24-hour clock is 20, so it's 20 hours and 20 minutes. And the last question, 60 divided by 6 is equal to 10. Well done for getting them questions. Don't worry if you didn't get them all right. You know which ones you need to work on, and then hopefully next time you can improve on that. There we are, back. And let's get back to sharing the screen. Oh, too big there now, you can't see. Okay, today's lesson is all about counting up in tenths. Okay, so yesterday we were looking at tenths and we were getting a good understanding of what tenths are. Today it's all about counting up in tenths. Okay, so I'm going to just quickly just got to pause this recording because I just need to go and collect something. Okay, I'm back, and as you can see, I've got my my little display on the background there, which was going to be helpful to show you how to count up and down in tenths today. So when we have tenths, okay, just to recap, a tenth is when we've taken a whole number and we divide it into 10 equal parts. So you're basically taking a number and dividing it by 10, and whatever your answer is a tenth of that number. So for example, if I had 100 and I divided it by 10, my answer is 10. Therefore, 1/10 of 100 is equal to 10. Okay. If my whole was 20 and I divided it by 10, my answer is 2. So each one of these tenths is equal to 2. Okay. So when we divide a whole by 10, we get a tenth. Okay. And today we are going to be looking at how we can count up and down in tenths. Okay. So have a look. Here we've got our sequence on the board, and I'm going to make myself a little bit bigger so you can see the board behind me because it's going to be important to show you. Okay, so we're going to have to continue this sequence. All right. Now, as you can see, my top row says 10 over 10. That means we've got one whole. We've got all our 10s in place and they make up our one whole. The next one, okay, says 9/10. So we've taken away a 10th from our whole, okay? Let's move that down there. We now have 9/10 in our, there. Now you can see we've taken away another 10th, okay? Because now in our picture down here, we've only got we've got 2 missing 10ths. So we've taken another 10th away. So if we've taken one more 10th away from 9, how many 10ths are we going to have? That's right, we're going to have 8/10. So what we can do, we can, let's get that pen working. So what we can do, we write 8 in here, but it's still out of 10 because we divided our whole into 10 parts. We've only just got 8 of them there. And then we have to look at this one, okay? Now we need to fill in the rest. We are now going down in tenths. So what do you think the next one is going to be? So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, what's 1 less than 8? You're right, it's 7. So 7/10. So we're going to take away 1 more 10th. And now we have how many tenths left up here? We have 7. Now, if you may not have these kind of magnet things at home, and that's understandable, but if you you could find yourself 10 Lego bricks that are exactly the same size, that may help you with this, okay? Now we're going to go back down from 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What's 1 less than 7? That's right, it's 6. So we're now going to write 6 out of 10. Because we're now taking away another 10th. Okay, we're going to take away another 10th now, okay? How many tenths do we have left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we're going to put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whoop, and that is 5 over 10. Pretty straightforward, isn't it? Counting up and down in tenths. We're now going to take away another 10th. How many have I got left? 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm now going to color 4 in. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's 4 tenths that we have left. Now for the last one, I'm going to take away 3 tenths. Okay. 1, 2, 3. So now I've taken away 3 tenths. How many tenths do I have left? 1. So for my last one, I'm going to put 1 out of 10. Okay. I've been a bit cheeky there, but I just wanted to show you that you're simply just taking away or adding to the numerator depending on how many tenths or you've taken away or added. So we were just taking away 1 and we were going down in ones, we've taken away 3 at the last, so we've taken away 3 from our numerator there. And that's it. That is counting up and down in tenths. Pretty straightforward, I think. But then again, I think a lot of things can be easy, and then I'll find out they're very difficult indeed. So there we are. Right, so this is where I want you guys to well, let me do it this way for you. I'm going to start off with my 1/10 here. Here, I've added 1 bead to my piece of string, okay? In fact, I'm going to show you how to do this. Great having a 2-year-old daughter. She seems to have all the things that I need to teach maths. So in my first picture, okay, I have 1 bead, okay, on my string. Okay, now I've got 10 beads in total to play with here. Okay, so I've got 10 beads down here that I can use. Okay, so there's one. In my next picture, I've added another bead. So I add another bead to my string, and now I've got 2 beads. Okay, I'm using only 10 beads, so this is 2 out of 10. You can see in the third picture, I've added a third bead. And there we go. So now I've got how many? That's right, 3 out of 10. Okay. Oh, I'm dropping the beads on the floor. Oh, yeah. So far we've got 3 beads out of 10. I'm now going to add one more bead. Okay. So here we go. Get a blue one this time. Okay. These beads are all different colors, but you should get the idea. So now I've got, out of the 10 beads that I've got down here, I've now got 4 on my piece of string. Okay, so now I've just added one more tenth, haven't I? Okay, because that's what I'm doing. I'm adding tenths here to 4 out of 10. And I'm going to put 4 beads on my piece of string in the shape of lines. Okay, for this next one, I'm going to add on another bead out of the 10 that I've got now. So let's take a green one. We haven't got green. So there's my green one. It goes on. How many beads have I got now on my piece of string from the 10 beads that I've got down here? That's 5. That's correct, because each of these beads represent 1/10, and I've just added another 10th to it. So now I have 5 beads on my string, and I write that as 5 over 10. Now for the last one, okay, and I'm just going to put these up here. So just imagine adding tenths here now, or taking away, we've gone up to 5. Okay, so now we've got 5 out of 10. And now, for the last one, I'm not going to just add 1/10. Okay, I'm going to add 2/10 to this one. Okay, got a purple bead here, and I'm going to add a yellow one as well, another yellow one. So here are my 2/10 that I'm now adding to my string. How many tenths now do I have on my string? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Because I've added 2/10 to this one. So it will be 7 out of 10. Notice how the denominator never changes. Okay? Because it's always, when you count, because the whole number has been split into tenths. Okay? So the denominator will always stay the same when you're counting up and down in tenths. The thing that does change is the numerator, because the numerator is telling us how many tenths we're using. Yeah? So we've now got 7/10. Ooh, I've got 7/10 on my string. And for a question for you guys, how many tenths do I have remaining to put? You know, if I'm not going to put any more on here, how many tenths do I have left? If I've got 7/10 on here, how many will I have left? Okay, good, well done. So this is now, it's your turn. What I would like you to do is, if you've got items around the house, then that would be great to help you. Like I have. I've been able to find some beads that belong to my daughter. You may not have beads, you may have things like Lego bricks or something like that. If you may want to take some fruit or an orange. Oranges are quite good, you can cut them into segments. They may be you, and the good thing about that is you can eat them after you've finished with them. But if you want to, you can find an object in your house to help you count up and down in tenths. What you need to do in this question here, you need to write the correct fraction, okay, in the missing squares. So this is part A, this is part B. Pause the video, good luck, and we'll see how you're getting on. Okay, welcome back, guys. Let's go through the answers. I'm going to start off with A first, so I'm going to make myself, let's not make myself too big because you won't be able to see what I'm doing. Okay, so first thing we need to do, we have a look at our top question here. It says part A. We start off with 1/10. Okay, here's our 1/10. Let's put it there, and I put it under my 1 whole to show you that 10/10 make 1 whole. Then I go up to 2. Now I've got a missing number. Okay, now the one after says 4/10. Okay, so the missing one must be one less, which is 3. So you need to be writing 3/10 in this box. Very good. We now add 4/10. What comes after 4? That's right, 5. So it's 5/10. You're basically counting from 1 to 10 in order, guys. It's really not that difficult. Okay. We're just counting in a different way. We're calling it tenths now. Now we've got 6/10. We add on the 7/10. What comes after 7/10? 8/10. Brilliant. So now we write 8/10 in this box here. Funny looking 8. And then we got 9/10. And then our last one, 10/10 to make that whole. Let's go down to these questions now. So well done if you got them right. Give yourself a tick. Now let's go down to these ones. We're going to start off with 10/10s. Now we've got 9/10s. What comes after 9/10s if we're going backwards? 8/10s. Very good. Okay, so now we've got 8/10s. We're going to take one more off. We've now got 7/10s. We're going to take one more off. How many have we got now? What's one less than 7? Yeah, 6. Good job. 6 out of 10. Okay, we now take one more. 5 out of 10. We're halfway now. And then once one less after 5/10. 4/10. Brilliant. Yeah, you got a hang of it. Good. We're in a roll. We're on a roll. We're on a roll. And then we take away one more, and we've got how many left? Yeah, 3/10. And then the last two, we've got 2/10. And then we finish off with just 1/10 left at the top there. So brilliant. Well done, guys, if you got all them correct. Now we can also see that tenths can be put onto a number line as well. And this number line has been divided into tenths. Okay, and we can see here that we've got our little notches to help us. So look, let's count. We got 0. Okay, so that must be 0. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we have cut, this could be my number line here. We put my number line and we've cut it up, divided it into 10 parts. So now my number line is split into tenths, and each one of them notches represents a tenth. We then have to figure out what the tenth goes next to which letter. So here we look at A. Let's start at 0, okay? And we go 1. 1/10. This is it, okay? So in A, we write 1/10, 1/10. And then we go on to B. Okay, so now we've got 1/10 here, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, 5/10. So B is equal to 5/10. Okay, so we've added on to get our 5/10 here. Okay, now I'm going to go on to C. So I go 6/10, 7/10, 8/10. Okay, so now, so we've gone 5, 6/10, 7/10, 8/10. So C is equal to 8/10. And to check that we're correct, this one is 9, and this one is 10/10s, and 10/10s is equal to, you guessed it, I should have the other one. 10/10s is equal to 1 whole. Okay, so well done. Well, you haven't actually asked that question, I've gone through it with you, but hopefully you understand that. So now, sometimes when we're counting, we can go beyond one whole, okay? And let's put it this way. You may have a pizza, you've got 2 pizzas and they're cut up into 10 slices each pizza. If you eat 12 slices of pizza, how are you going to write that as a fraction? Because the denominator is always going to stay at 10 because each pizza is cut up into 10 parts. So we're still using tenths there. So have a think about that, and then we're going to go through this. Right, so write the fractions in the correct places on the number line. I'm not going to write them, I'm just going to join the arrows up here. So here we've got a number line from 0 to 1. It's cut into 10 equal parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We then look at the numerator, okay, and we decide where it goes. So let's have a look at this one. We've got 5. So we go 1, 2 tenths, 3 tenths, 4 tenths, 5 tenths. So 5 tenths is on this one here. 9 tenths, let's count on. 6 tenths, 7 tenths, 8 tenths, 9 tenths. So 9 tenths is this one here. 3 tenths is 1, 2, 3. And then 10 tenths is equal to 1 whole. So that goes to 1. B, it gets a little bit trickier because here our number line goes beyond 1. We've got, so that means our fractions are going to go beyond 1 as well. So here we've got our number line, our two holes. So remember our 2 pizzas, let's say, have been divided into 10 slices on each pizza. So pizza number 1 has 10 slices and pizza number 2 has 10 slices. This person here has only, well, let's say one day, 1 week, they only eat 6 slices of the pizzas, okay? So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay? That is 6 tenths. Now the next one says 14 tenths. Bit confusing. This is called an improper fraction. This tells us that we've gone over 1 whole into our next whole number, right? So if we think a bit about pizzas, this is our first pizza here up to 1. Now we're going into our second pizza and we're gobbling down that pizza. So 14 out of 10 tells us that we've actually eaten 1 whole pizza and we've had 4 slices of the other pizza. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it gets a bit tricky. So remember that you can go over 1 whole, and when you do that, the numerator becomes bigger than the denominator because we're still keeping it in tenths here. And then the last one here, 18ths, okay? That will go there, okay? And if you just count along the number line, you can just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and count to the number that you need to get to. But to visualize it like a pizza, you can have 2 pizzas. Okay, I'm just going to cut them into 4s. Okay, but if I ate 1 whole pizza and then had 2 slices of my other pizza, the denominator is still 4 because each pizza is cut into 4 parts. But because I've eaten 6 slices, it would be 6 over 4. That's called an improper fraction. Okay, it tells us that we've had 1 whole and we're going into our next whole afterwards. And that's exactly what we've done here with the tenths. So 14 tenths tells us we've actually gone over 1 whole and we've gone into the next whole by 4. I hope that makes sense, guys, because now it's your independent tasks. So for number 1, you need to draw and label arrows to estimate the position of the fractions on the number lines. These number lines have not been divided equally into 10 parts. You've just got to estimate where you think they are. So some of your answers may be different, okay, but you just need to estimate. And there are some improper fractions there as a bit of a challenge. For challenge number 2, Here you've got pictorial formats, and you basically need to write down the number that is represented in each picture, okay, writing it as fractions in tenths. Okay, so I don't want you to just write the number, I want you to write it as a fraction because they are divided into tens. And 1 whole is represented here as 10 lots of 10, yeah? And for challenge 3, I think you had this challenge yesterday. Oh dear. So for challenge 3, you can try this one again. No, if you've done this one already, what I would like you to do is I would like you to write your own word problem, put it onto Tapestry for me, so I can answer it. And it's got to do with tenths, okay? I do apologize. I'm not too sure how this has happened, but yes, because you would have done this yesterday. So for this challenge, write your own word problem. Do not do this question because this one was given to you yesterday. So how I've done that, I don't know. So for challenge number 3, write your own word problem with tenths, so that have to do with tenths, so I can answer it. Okay, let's go back to look at the answers. So this is estimation. It's not going to be entirely correct. Let's do 5 out of 10 first. So 5 out of 10, our numerator is less than our denominator, so we know that we haven't gone over 1 whole yet. 5 is, if we would split this into tenths, is halfway between 0 and 1. So 5 tenths would go there. 15 tenths, all right, would go halfway between this one, because we've got 1 whole, because we've gone over 10, and we've gone over 10 by 5. So it should be about there. And then 20 out of 10, that's telling us we've got two wholes there, haven't we? So 20 out of 10 would be on 2. 3 out of 10 here, a bit trickier, will probably be about here. Again, the denominator is larger than the numerator, so we haven't gone over 1 whole yet. Here, we've gone over our 10. We've gone over our 10 by 1. So it will probably be close to 1 there. And here we've gone over 1 by 9. So that's going to be closer to 2 wholes. For this one, you need to write the fractions in tenths. So for this one, we've got 4 tenths. We haven't got 1 whole yet. So we do 4 over 10. For part B, we've got 1 whole, and then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over. Okay, so we've had 10. We now have to add on 5 to 10, which is 15. And it's we're doing tenths, so it's 15 over 10. And then for this last question here, we've got 2 wholes. Okay, so that's 2 lots of 10, so that's 20 plus the 2, which gives us 22 over 10. And again, use objects around the house to help you. For challenge 3, apologize for putting the wrong question up, but what you can do is write your own word problem for me to answer that has to do with tenths. Okay, so think about it and then write it up onto Tapestry, and I will answer that question as when it comes in. So well done, guys. That is counting up and down in tenths. Pretty straightforward, I think, but if not, always remember that I am on Teams, and you can just drop me a line and a message, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. See you in the next video, guys. Have a good weekend. See you on Monday.